Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be doing spooky season type of nails. So I am doing the pop-off method using these full cover tips. They are extra long and I purchased them off of Amazon. So I'll leave those linked down below if you guys are interested in trying these out. I'm absolutely obsessed with these tips, especially if you're trying to do content like I do. Now I am just doing my pop-off method, which includes cuticle oil to the natural nail. I added 2 coats of matte top coat and then I'm just applying with gel. Now we're going to be doing the intricate nail first. So for this process, I'm using this really pretty muted color for my background, which is essentially going to be the color of the mask for our character. So we're going to be doing Trick or Treat nails. And if y'all haven't seen the movie, and neither have I, but I have been seeing this character throughout the years on social media for Halloween sets, and I have just been dying to do it. So I figured this was the perfect year to do so. So I'm going to be using all of the brushes from Veeda Bella. Do note that I'm using the long liner, the short liner, and the micro liner. I'll try to mention it while I'm using it, but I'm pretty much using all of the brushes from our collection throughout the video. Now for our colors, I'll try to mention those as well, but I do tend to just grab a bunch of the same tones that I'm going to be using and then mix those together. So a lot of the colors that I'm going to be showing for the character and throughout the set are custom mixed by myself on the Artista palette from Veeda Bella. So just a quick little disclaimer before we get into it. Now, I am starting off with the outline of the mask, and then we're going to go in with all the details. So I have seen this technique done before on nail art, and I have been wanting to test it out. And here it is. So the technique pretty much is where you use the majority of the color that you're going to be using for your character as the background color, and then if you want to change the background color of the nail, then you would do that after the fact. So you'll see me pretty much doing that process through this video. So I started off with the outline and I am using a pretty see-through color for that. Here you see me mixing a darker tone for more of the details. Like I mentioned, I pretty much just look at the character photo and then I go based off of that. So I'm just kind of mixing as I go. I'm pretty good at knowing what colors to mix together to get specific colors. So I know that's kind of something that you need to just practice and then you'll get better at. So here I'm doing like a muted grayish brown color. So I took my base color, I added a little bit of black, and then I added some white as well. And it pretty much just kind of neutralized the whole thing, and we're just mixing it as I'm going and adding the darker shades where it needs to go. And that way I can just start adding all the texture that I need for the mask. Now I could have done a lot more detail for this character, could have gone really in depth, but I do still want to make it beginner friendly for y'all since I know it can get a little tricky, and I just wanted to share with you guys how you can easily achieve a look without doing too much work. So first off, we have the outline. Now I'm going in with the darker tones, adding shading where I feel like it needs shading, or pretty much going based off of the photo. And then I'm going to start adding in the texture with the same base color that I used, mixing that with white, and then I'm pretty much going to be doing. So the mask for this character is like a burlap type of material. It reminds me of like a potato sack type of thing. So you would notice in one of those sacks, all the texture of the threads kind of intertwining together. So that's pretty much what I'm trying to achieve here. I'm doing lines, super tiny lines. As you can see, I'm kind of just flicking my hand back and forth, and that's pretty much how I'm getting that technique down. It's horizontal lines, vertical lines, kind of crisscross pattern. And I'm pretty much just doing that with all the different colors that I see in the photo. So I went in with the dark ones. Now I'm going in with lighter tones. I did mix, like I said, the base color with some white to do more of a highlighted area. And then I'm pretty much just kind of going all over the place. You'll see me pretty much working in one area and then moving to another, just as I feel like it has more detail in certain areas. And then right there, I'm doing the stitching down the front of it. And I'm just pretty much, again, looking at the picture frequently. You can kind of see it on the top right hand corner that I have my tablet propped up with the photo that I'm trying to recreate. That way I can easily do that. And I'm just gonna continue to do that until I'm happy with the texture and the result of the shading areas and everything like that. I'm gonna be taking that same like muted brown color and add that to the eyes, which are at the end gonna be pretty much buttons. And I'm just doing that as my base. Next, I'm gonna be taking that same brighter white color and I'm gonna be doing the stitching across the mouth portion. It is pretty much gonna be the same vibe as the stitching down the vertical area of the face. And then again, just doing my base layer, and I'm gonna go back in with all the details afterwards. So adding the stitches of the buttons, we're gonna be doing our base design for our rope around the neck. So it's like one horizontal line and then two little strings kind of going down. And then for the rest of the nail, we're gonna be doing orange. The character does have like an orange suit on, so I'm pretty much gonna do that. I mixed a burnt orange using an orange that I already had, and then some of the brown that I used. And then we're lightening up some areas and darkening up some areas just to give it lots of texture. Now it's gonna start coming all the way together. So I'm adding like a shaded area on the mask portion. That way it looks like it's actually floating on top of his suit. And then we're gonna add more depth to that with darker colors. So I added like a very sheer color to that, and then we're gonna go in with like a really darker outline. So for the rope around the neck, I'm pretty much doing a shadow as well. And then I'm gonna be going in with black and adding the details to make it look like an actual rope. Now we're gonna be doing the stitches going upwards from the forehead down to the chin area. And those are just like little kind of overlapping lines, not necessarily crosses. And now again, I just felt like I needed a little bit more shading, so I'm gonna add that right there where I feel like it needs it, using that darker sheer color. Now for the part that actually brings everything to life, and I always think that a black outline just makes everything pop. I'm gonna start adding in all the details. I added a crisper line around the mask portion, like where it sits on the shirt. And then I'm gonna be going in with the little rope details, which is pretty much just little ovals. And you can see it just come together. So for this portion, I'm going in between every single little white line because I forgot to darken that up, and it definitely needed it. I'm using the micro detail brush from Veeda Bella, and you can see how easily I am getting these lines done. And I'm pretty much doing an outline on the lines that I did, and it is so tiny, but I was able to easily do that with that brush because the brush is also extremely small. And for the record, I was wearing my glasses, which I typically don't do, but I need, and I feel like I just am in denial that I need them, and that helped a lot as well. So now we're just gonna be pretty much outlining the rest of the character, and you can see how it just starts popping. And then I forgot to add a little like stitched area, so I'm gonna be adding a distressed type of yellow to it for the patch. And then we're gonna be adding the stitched portion of that, which is essentially just a black outline. I made it nice and curvy to add texture to it, and then black little lines around the entire square. And then we're gonna be moving on to the rest of the nails. I am adding Sea Salt Caramel from Not Polished. This is one of my go-to nude gel polishes. It is sheer, so if you want it darker or more opaque, you would have to add multiple layers. But sometimes the sheer look just looks so good. So I'm gonna be adding a thin layer of that, curing it in the light for 60 seconds. And then I'm gonna be adding some darker tones as well in there. Now I think I got a little too excited and I filled in the rest of the nail for my middle finger off camera, but I pretty much just did the top portion where our character was at in black, and I just infilled that, and it was really easy, honestly. Now I'm adding a darker tone nude gel polish, also from Not Polished, and I'm just kind of spreading that on there, giving it texture. I saw a movie cover for this movie and it kind of gave that vibe. So I wanted to recreate that so that it just all flowed nicely with the movie theme. And for our ring finger, we're gonna be doing the title, which is Trick or Treat. And on also the movie cover, it's pretty much like LED type of vibe where it's looks like it's glowing. So I'm gonna try to mimic that. I'm going in with a yellow. Definitely would recommend to go in with a brighter yellow for that. I ended up making mine a little bit less bright with some white. I am using the Veeda Bella Just Yellow for that with white gel polish, mixed it together. And then I'm gonna be going in with a sheer or translucent jelly polish for our like glowing effect. And I mixed red and orange for that. And then I also added a little bit of clear top coat just to dilute it a little bit because it was a lot more opaque and a lot more bright than I would have wanted it to be. I am curing every single layer, do note that. I know I'm not showing it on the video, but I am curing in between every single layer. So important, I'm not just layering them on top of each other. Once I'm done with the glowing portion, we're gonna go back in and brighten up that yellow with the same color. I'm just outlining or tracing the letters that I already did. And then to top it off, we're gonna be doing some red jelly polish as blood splatter. And then our character has this like pumpkin style lollipop that is half eaten. Again, I've never watched the movie, but it seemed to be important as it came up every time that I searched the character. So I feel like I need to start watching the movies if I'm gonna create certain nail art. But anyways, we're gonna be adding some white as well. I pretty much did the outline or the silhouette of the lollipop. We're adding some highlighted areas and then mixing a brown jelly polish with a little bit of black to make it a little bit darker. We're gonna be doing the carved out portion of our pumpkin. So I'm doing a little triangle and then the mouth area. And then I'm simply gonna be outlining it with black and then adding the stick to it and topping off with some blood splatter as well. Now I did end up adding some patches to our pinky nail, and then I added some top coat, some cuticle oil, but that pretty much concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton, and I'll see you guys next time.